to make it bad, it gets kind of rotten and dies. The flowers you buy to her, and they die right away, everything around her, and it brings hunger and death around. So all the village kind of rebels, comes up and says she's a witch, and they burn her. They make a bonfire and they burn this woman, and her biggest fear is to be burned as a witch. So that's what happened. Now, that when we take this woman to hunt with us, it happens the same thing. Those fears, those pheromones, this energy brings those animals. So that olfactory vector, it's vector that can feel those pheromones, feel that energy. Some people in our tribe, society, they can feel that smell of fear, and usually it's like Nathaniel Rothschild or like Rockefeller. Usually it's very rich people, and Stalin was one of a lot of people, but not too many. It's like maybe 1% in society. It's not too many people who has this olfactory vector. And I don't want to say names because I see those people in politics, finances, financial world, and further. So now what happened is all this problem, all these fears, if she cannot get rid of them, it can destroy society, her family, even her husband can get sick, arrhythmia, and then can lead to heart attack if it has anal vector. Only anal vector male can have heart attack, by the way. If you watch my videos about vector psychology, you will know who I'm talking about. Now, what happened is, let's play another scenario. So she walks midnight, a girl, woman walks by herself. Suddenly somebody starting to choke her. And what she has to do first thing, it's to go limp. Kind of collapse, you can say, or lose consciousness, but to be conscious. Kind of relaxed all the body. And because if she starts fighting, screaming, that triggers adrenaline. That could be a really bad situation. So what happened is, after she does that, he's gonna stop. He's gonna be kind of stupid. He's gonna be kind of shocked because it's anal vector. Only that vector could do those things. Why is choking, by the way? Because all the body of anal vector person works like sphincters, like fists. First fist, it was created because we needed to evolutionize from the paw, from that animal hand, paws, toward human's arm. Because we needed to hold stone axe, we needed to hold those tools that was necessary for survival. So that vector is the one who evolutionized that hand, and then all his body works the same ways. Anus is stomach, you can have issues with the stomach, arrhythmia, heart attack, and further stuttering, all gastrointestinal tract. It's all connected. So what happened is, now when she calms him down, now she becomes again his psychologist. What is your name? Random question. And she works with him further. Now vectors, it's not just personality of humans. That's how all the evolution works. That's how all the universe works. We have urethral vector. It's vector of the future. It's vector of the leader, which is kind of going into the future. Anal vector, it's our past. Now, dermal, for example, it's all the forms and shapes of every subject on the planet. For example, bark of the tree bark, it has that the form, that shape that it gives the bark to the tree, that's dermal vector. Banana peel, nutshell, skin of the person, animal, all this stuff, it's all dermal vector. So olfactory vector, that's the vector that is our, you can say, it's watching our balance in that invisible world that we don't see. Like I said, pheromones. Now olfactory vector is making sure that we have balanced men and women. If there is a war, make sure that enough male is born after the war. If we lack in certain vector in our tribe, is gonna, every child that we have in the family, it's not our children, it's the vector that is lacking the most in the tribe, in society, you can say now. That's the child that is gonna born. Therefore, when the child born, it doesn't even have that Y chromosome yet. It doesn't have that male. It's not female, it's not male. Well, that's why we have nipples, because Y chromosome kicks later after it's actually boy, because nature needs to kind of balance and probably see that olfactory vector which we need the most at this moment. So, and then all his genitals and everything else starts to kind of develop, and because when I mean, that's all controlled by olfactory vector, and olfactory, you can say, element. It's like elements. And the same thing with people. We have those vectors, and they do the same thing like they do in nature, in universe. So now let's play another scenario where it's one of the biggest fears women have. It's to be raped in a park, at work, or somewhere else, or somebody's kidnapping her and taking her in the car. So what she has to do, because if it happens, let's play this scenario at work. Let's say he locks the doors, her boss, he let everybody go home an hour earlier, get drunk. Usually it's anal vector again, because all sexual committed crimes, 99% by anal vector. It's the vector that has one of the highest testosterone level in the tribe. It's second. First, it's urethral, the leader. But leader, it doesn't do those crimes because that's the vector that kind of protects the tribe. Unless there is some issues, it could happen, but it's different story, different topic to discuss. So 99% chance it's anal vector who's gonna do that. And usually they need to get drunk, they have those insecurities, they have those fears. So when he starts screaming at her, throwing some papers in her face, and she sees it's about to happen, first thing, she comes and grabs his belt, and she says, Johnny, don't be scared. She opens up his belt, unzip him, and she's jerking him off. Now, she has to be very, when she does that, it has to be with confidence. So you need to kind of, everything that I said in this video, you need to play it and kind of, you can say you need to even experience it with your boyfriend, husband, or someone. So it has to be with confidence. So now what you do, you can even go around him and hold him and kind of lead him to his table and do it on, I mean, you can do anything. You hold his testicles also with another hand. If he's trying to touch you, you squeeze it a little bit, his testicles, and you tell him, Johnny, please come down and put your hands down. Don't scream, you don't need to make a lot of noise. If he's still trying, you squeeze a little more, it's gonna calm him down, trust me. Now, that's what needs to be done in those situations. That's how you deal with that. Now, also, maybe next video we're gonna discuss also some situations, but you have to understand that all these fears, it's also something that you can call it obscurity, something that we don't know what's gonna happen. So you need to kind of play it forward. For example, I mean, obviously the fear of death, because we don't know what's gonna happen. Fear of darkness, you don't know what's in there. Fear of any fear, you're scared to lose your job because you don't. By the way, when person's scared to lose something, what it does, the universe, it has a rule of universe. It's a flow that you cannot cut or leave. You cannot just leave the flow. Everything goes with the flow. The river has a flow, the wind blows. You can only change to another direction of the flow or other flow. So when a diver goes with the flow, sometimes it can pull him somewhere and become dangerous. So he knows he has to kind of go on the side little by little and go maybe to opposite directions of the flow. Has to be changed. So when you cut the flow, especially to the child, you break rule of nature. It's very stressful situation, the most stressful. That's why a child starts to cry right away, yell, because if you, let's say, is playing with the ball and ball hits the street or the road, and you tell him don't play here, it's gonna be a little bit stressful for him. So you tell him don't play, but let's go to the park, or we'll go to the park. You can play in the park, you can play with your friends. Kind of, you have to switch that flow for him. You cannot just cut it. It's very stressful. So you need to understand that. And what I was talking about, it's I mean the same thing with the situation that we talked earlier. So you have to make sure you change the flow and don't try to kind of cut yourself from the flow. So when you have fear losing your job, you kind of losing the job, it's like cutting the flow or stopping it. So other job obviously is going to be kind of different flow. So what happened is, in order to overcome that obscurity, you just play it forward. Like, I'm going to lose the job step by step, slowly. I'm going to go home, grab a beer, call my friends, call my parents. Starting maybe a couple of days, we'll take day off, go somewhere, vacation. Then start to send in resumes, And